How to be blessed. Principle number 7. Bring forth your harvest. This week I will be finishing up, thankfully, with what will block the blessings of God, and next week move on to a really exciting topic, one of my favorite, secrets, that will multiply your blessings. But before I do, I want to answer a question that came into our office, and that was, what exactly do you, or the Bible, mean by a double-minded man? Is this doubting that God will restore your marriage? Not that He can't, just that He won't for some reason? Also, was there ever a time that you, Aaron, thought that your marriage wouldn't get restored? Thanks. This is a good question because I have heard so many Christians simplify double-mindedness to actually mean doubt or doubting. Certainly there is a correlation between the two, but I believe that doubt is a result of double-mindedness, but they don't have the same meaning. Double-minded is defined in Noah's 1928 Webster's Dictionary as having different minds at different times, unsettled, wavering, unstable, undetermined. Therefore, it appears that double-mindedness is the state of having different minds at different times, usually, but not always, when the enemy strikes. Being unsettled can actually happen at any time when the thing, restoration, is not fully believed. A couple of weeks ago, when I encouraged you to seek God to see if it is His will to restore you, if you did, as so many did, then you can settle it, so you won't be unsettled or unstable in all your ways. And certainly any person, once they have the Lord's assurance that He does have a desire to restore their marriage, would be determined rather than undetermined to finish the course. Next, to answer the second part of the question, to be totally honest with you, until He restored it, I wasn't sure it would be restored. But that's because not too long after I began my restoration journey, my focus changed to simply wanting more of Him, so much so that near the end I knew He was about to restore it, even though the normal signs said differently. And it was then that I began to remind the Lord just how glorious it was, just the two of us, and to reconsider restoration. Let me assure you, far too many women ask God if it's His plan and then fail to follow through by writing it on the doorpost of their hearts, so that when the enemy comes in with a good blow, that makes restoration look so very hopeless by something that their spouse says or something someone else says about their spouse, or it's something they see, then they question again if it is God's will. These are the double-minded that God says should expect nothing from Him. Yet, what will prevent being knocked down at all is to simply turn your eyes and heart and focus from your restoration with your earthly husband to your heavenly husband, as I did when I experienced His love so abundantly. This is not just for your sakes, but for the sake of women around you who believe they need a man to make them happy and fulfilled and loved. It's only when you get pure love, the love that can only be met by Him, when you and other women are no longer vulnerable to the heartache of rejection. It doesn't happen immediately, but often after we are rejected, and again and again and again, as I share in my own restored marriage testimony, the enemy was able to knock me to my lowest when he had me convinced that I had received my restoration at Christmas, but restoration was only to be for those few short days. Yet, as I also share, it was the women that I had been ministering to that were there to carry me, carrying me on a pallet to the feet of Jesus, where He healed me and restored me to Himself when I became whole and wholly His. So if you haven't yet, get with God to find out if He wants to restore your marriage. You may want to lay out a fleece. Read Judges 6, verse 36 to 40. And if you read this passage, I also lay my fleece twice, since this is what Gideon did. Simply ask God to show you that it is His will. Once He does this, then settle it in your mind by writing it down and recording the vision. Remembering too that it means it's not going to be restored now, but at the appointed time. Habakkuk 2 verse 2-3. Then the Lord answered me and said, record the vision and inscribe it on tablets, that one who reads it may run. For the vision is yet for the appointed time. It hastens toward the goal, and it will not fail. Though it tarries, wait for it will certainly come. It will not delay. This will allow you to never again waver in your restoration, and allow you to also ask Him to show you why He allowed this to happen. Like many who have asked, the Lord reveals it to help encourage others, possibly even being trained to be a minister, which, by the way, is free and easy to do from home and when you apply to RMIOU. The enemy, however, will almost immediately come as a thief to steal promises away from you and maybe even convince you it is not time to help others. But if the soil of your heart is good, if it has been broken up, then His word to you and promises for you will be buried too deep to steal. Then the tears you shed before Him, hopefully tears of joy once you experience His love, will water the word, and it will bring forth your harvest, restoration in due season, after He knows He has you as His own. There's no way I could say this too much, but once you really just get a hold of how much the Lord loves you, I know that your relationship with who you are to Him will mean that nothing else will really matter. If I had to describe it, it's almost like you also have someone else secretly, just as your spouse who is in adultery have. Yet instead of being sinful, it's gloriously holy. When someone insults you, you will not be hurt because you'll think differently. Well, that may be how you think, but I have a lover of my own who says that he delights in me and rejoices in me. Isaiah 62 verse 4. Even now I love to slip away and talk to him, to make plans of when we will be meeting alone again. With this kind of love instead of hurt, I can smile at anything and everything. With all this love that is running over, I'm also able to love and bless even my enemies. This is where I want each of you to be. Though many of you are not there yet, it's our mission and goal to get so deep with God that you never want to come up for air. Only in this place will you be able to move mountains and do the exploits that the Lord wants to do through you and me. Rather than going on with what I had planned to say, I think it's important that we stop and selah. I don't want to move on because I personally just want to stay and meditate here. We will pick it up next week and finish what can block your blessings. Today, let's remember to simply be blessed by getting into such a state of intimacy that we never dream we could have. Isaiah 48 verse 6. I proclaim to you new things from this time, even hidden things which you have not known. Let me end today by stating how I simply love how He is uncovering hidden things from the past while revising this series from 2004, like the dictionary. I used to have this huge dictionary sitting on my desk to refer to, but now I have the online version that I just bookmarked and put in my online Bibles folder, which I could encourage each of you to do. Now, rather than looking up the words in a secular dictionary, I can go back to the one that believed the source of all wisdom was the Bible and refer to it often. Now it's time to journal.